Matthew 6, verse 24. It will be titled Defiling Bodies. Now, Matthew 6:24 is a very prominent verse in my life, and it's something that I have stuck very close with, but let's go ahead and read it. No one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and money. Now, for the context of this video, what I am about to discuss is defiling our bodies, partying. Since I will be harping on this partying thing since it's so prominent in our community, but it's for a while, there'll be more topics over time. But basically what I want to say is it is not possible to advertise defiling women and men and then be the same one to tell them to be empowered. It is a direct contradiction. It is in all forms and facets. Explain what the two most prominent aspects of doing it. So that would be the alcohol aspect and the promiscuity and provocative aspect. So first, dealing with alcohol. Drinking alcohol has been known to affect your liver as far as inflammation, cirrhosis, which is liver failure, and fibrosis, which is scar tissue buildup. Affect your brain as far as your neurotransmitters, your memory, and also messes with your activity levels and your energy levels, making all these things lower. Your heart, as far as high blood pressure, it can weaken your heart muscles, leading to heart failure. And then discussing your muscles and bones, drinking alcohol can interfere with proteins and lessen calcium levels, leading to thinner bones. Also, drinking alcohol can lead to alcohol poisoning and depression. Now, let's discuss the main topic of everything that even deals with partying and how partying is even set up in the first place. It's the women. If we're being honest, literally the whole scheme of partying is to bring a women crowd, and you know what comes behind a crowd of women who are already dressed provocatively and showing their bodies in a very unsacred way, but we're not gonna harp on that too much. What comes with that group of sexually perverted women is a group of sexually perverted men making a party. If you don't have women, it's most likely not gonna be as many men at the party. So that is the scheme. That is what they know. So they invite a lot of women, but specifically women who are there to be perverted and pervert themselves and be very perverse and shake a lot of the cake and whatever. You know, it's very intentional. It's a scheme in itself. But I don't blame the promoters. I don't blame anybody. I'm just exposing the ways that we are tricked in our own communities. So dressing provocative, the negatives of dressing provocative is that you're dressing provocative in the first place, but it causes objectification. So people don't see you as humans, especially men, and it's not right, but I'll explain on the men's behalf later. Don't think this is just a video critiquing women. This is critiquing the ways that we operate ourselves, the manners that we operate ourselves in general. So if you are a woman seeking a man and you dress provocatively, go to these parties, and you have all these issues with finding a good man, the reason may be because he does not see you as a woman. He sees you as an object. He sees you as something that can sexually please him. It's not our fault, but it is our fault, but that's why we're talking about it. Yes, so sexually provocative, and it's perverting our bodies. Anybody that goes to a party and has faith that God is real must know that perversion is of the devil. Being perverted is of the devil. It is said several times throughout the Bible. With that being said, outside of the godly way, perversion is something that can lead to you having issues with finding an actual partner that wants to commit to you. Finding someone that wants to be with you outside of your sexual aesthetic. You have been objectified. You are sexually perverting yourself, which is desanctifying your body and making it a less sacred temple. So finding a partner who wants you and sees past all four of these will be very hard. And it's not necessarily your fault for that happening, but it's something that you have to acknowledge. And to take away the objectification, you have to first realize and understand the way that you are presenting yourself to the world and to God. That is why it may be hard to find a partner who wants to be with you for anything other than your sexual appeal. And going to parties, committing perverted acts for fun is also part of that provocative aspect that I'm discussing that will not lead to anything positive for your life. And at the end of the day, it's something that you will later on in life look back at and wonder what you really gained from it. Or you will still be in that aspect later in life, 30, 40 years old, still getting around everywhere and trying to find that missing piece of yourself that you never found when you were younger, that you thought you were gonna find through partying and having fun and living it up, and nothing changed. That's the worst part about it. These things do not improve the aspects of your life. They decline the parts of you that can be improved. There's no person on this earth right now that is too far out of the scope of recovery. You just have to be willing to understand and repent. So for men, now we're going to discuss the men aspect of this. For men thinking provocatively. Now, first I discussed the women dressing pervertedly and very sexually. But now we must talk about the demographic that they're targeting. The demographic that they are set to appeal to, men, majority. I know there's some exceptions and stuff, but right now we're just talking about the home slice, the squeeze, the main squeeze and stuff like that. I'm not trying to offend anybody, but anyway. So now I'm discussing the men. The men have a huge role to play in this, because if we did not look at women as objects and we did not accept the provocative ways of women, they would not be doing these things. And that is a fact. We have allowed platforms like OnlyFans to blow up in the realm that it has, because there are so many sexually deprived men and they do not know what to do with themselves, that they are willing to pay for content from somebody that they never met in their life to get that sexual pleasure from themselves, but looking at a picture. So yes, and I am not better than anyone else. I have been there in many aspects. I ain't gonna say I ain't never paid for no OnlyFans, but anyway, there are aspects of ourselves that we allow to get to such a low point to where we're willing to pay for someone to see their naked body, or not even, most of the time it's not even their naked body. It's literally them with clothes on, just posting sexually explicit pictures with clothes on. They could be fully clothed. It just takes their butt to be in the frame with full pants on. It could be like a full suit on. You just need to see a corner of an inch of a butt. You have reached such a low point of yourself that is acceptable to you. That's on us, and not creating a brotherhood to where we don't allow ourselves or our communities to think like this. We have been diverted from each other so much that we just are allowed to think this and be okay with these ways of thinking and acting. So, but yeah, that goes into my first point of objectifying women. We look at women as objects, as something that's just disposable, other than what we need it for. Something that's not alive, doesn't have a thinking brain, like a functioning brain, and that's not correct. That's not right to do, but it is a reality. So we must confront that reality in order to work on it. So as men, we need to do a better job of holding each other accountable for looking at women as objects, because once we stop that, and if that directly in the bud, as soon as we hear it, we'll be preventing these defilings, these downward spirals of ourselves. So on top of that, like I stated before with the OnlyFans mention, is that our morals will be thrown off and we will accept what we usually would not. We're thinking with a lustful brain. This explains how there are PDF files, I think they have to say. I'll just say that because I want to post this on YouTube. But there are PDF files in the world, because it gets to the point to where they have, accepted the fact that this is what they like, because they are so sexually deprived in certain ways that they rationalize, they have twisted their brain, they have their brain twisted so much that they rationalize messing with children, underage folks, at their big age, messing with underage folks. And it is something, as a realistic take, that can happen to any of us. That's why it's so important to educate our community, because some people were not brought up the same way we were brought up. That is a closed-minded thought pattern to think that we all are just high and mighty and above this ideal. If we weren't brought up this way, in our spirits weren't as inclined to be able to tell us that is not correct, and we just drift further and further away. And if it's even enforced, or like we're brought up, taught that it's okay, yeah, it's actually okay, it's not that bad, it's kind of common, the legal age in other countries, that type of stuff is possible. It's very plausible. So it's never out the realm of possibility. Should it be accepted? Absolutely not at all. And I stand on that. I don't care.